Hello and welcome back to Raise Gaming and more Monster Hunter Wilds talk. Now post-beta, another topic I wanted to talk about was the solid list of things we've learned since actually playing it, with a focus on hunting tools and tips, things that are going to be useful to know that maybe you never tested or just didn't realize. Let's get started. We begin with the topic of sneak attacks because this is a lot more than you might first realize. In concept, applying a sneak attack is a massive hit to start a fight, and then obviously it also causes a little stagger. There's a common misconception about sneak attack though, in that you don't actually need a ghillie mantle to do these. If the monster is passive, you can run up behind it, no problem. The idea is to sneak though, like crouch and move close and maybe use bushes, that kind of thing. The mantle is still useful. It does mean you can run up to the monster in its face and it still won't see you, but as you can see, it's also very easy to run up behind it, no problem, no mantle. For the sneak attack itself though, the damage is big. For dual blades, it's unlikely I'm going to land numbers as big as these otherwise. But it also opens the monster up to some kind of follow-up. For example, with dual blades, it gives me a great window to move in and build up some demon gauge to start the fight before the roar. For a longsword, you have the perfect window to use the new charge slash, which will mean a free level up on the spirit gauge to open the fight. This can all be done before the first roar though, which means, say in this case, the upcoming roar can be countered, or maybe you'll perfect evade it, depending on the weapon, making the opener even better. Besides those obvious benefits, some weapons benefit with unique sneak attack benefits too. For example, the switch axe. When you use the sneak attack, the attack is actually a heavy slam, and the heavy slam will provide you with the power axe buff, meaning more axe damage and better switch gauge buildup while it is active. That's something we want to activate in a fight as soon as possible, or maybe when given chance during the fight. To get this brain off easy way to have it going from the start of the fight though, that is really good. But let me know what other weapons do get unique perks to their sneak attack, if there are any. But here's another thing. Did you know you can use sneak attacks mid-fight? This can be done during a monster's turf war. Something about it resets the aggro off you and the monster awareness resets, allowing for one essentially mid-fight, if you're lucky, sneak attack. You just have to put the weapons away and look at the minimap as the tell when it goes white in the outline. Naturally, having a turf war happen when you won isn't really a thing, but making use of them when they do happen with one of these sneak attacks is awesome. Another topic I want to talk about is the new Lur Pods, because my god are these very impactful. You are watching speedrunners make use of these to pull them to a boulder, to drop a boulder on them, repeatedly, over and over. Now obviously that's really effective. But what I really, and I mean really like about Lur Pods is the fact that they can prevent a monster from leaving. When a monster decides, I'm leaving this fight, I'm going to go to another area, I immediately get very annoyed. If I want to fight that monster, if it's low, I've almost finished it, I really don't want it to go to the nest, or let's just say mid-fight, go to another area. So you can just apply a Lur Pod and it'll instantly turn around and come back and fight you. It doesn't last forever, but it will give you that little bit of extra time. And it does feel like, especially in this beta, that monsters would leave the fight and go to another area way more often than I'm personally used to. I found it really annoying, so I do hope they tone that back, and Lur Pods can be a way to deal with that, at least as an option. Another topic is the investigation style system that is back, but now right from the start of the game. When you would open up your map, you'd see this current list of monsters available and around. Here you could check their difficulty level, which in some cases might be higher or lower depending on their RNG of the spawn. With that, we have the investigation style detail for each monster. It tells what monster will actually reward what if we do successfully hunt it. This can be a great way to target specific rewards you might need, such as a plate, or even a gem for an upgrade. This way you can target the ones that will guarantee those drops, which is going to be a genuine dream come true to be able to do from the start of the game. When you're first crafting this weapon or upgrading to that, getting your first plate or even gem is RNG. But hey, with this investigation style system from the beginning, it makes it consistent and something you can go out and do intentionally. Next up then, for a really good tip, is what to do with your second weapon. The most popular one in the beta was a heavy bowgun as your meta second weapon, and that was because of this ammo, the demon ammo. When fired, it provides a little red cloud on the shot location, which you and allies can walk into. Interestingly, you can also walk through it on the back of the seikret and you'll still get the buff. This does provide a familiar damage buff, like an attack up, comparable to say Might Seed or potentially even Demon Drug. So if you're looking to maximize your output, you could just run a main weapon and then a heavy bowgun for the purpose of demon ammo. But that bowgun will be handy. Say on the back of a mount when you're actually chasing a monster from area 1 to 2, you can be shooting it. Or maybe you'll make use of the other ammo types. Maybe you'll apply some poison and swap to a different weapon. Maybe you'll apply sleep and put a monster to sleep mid-fight to do a wake-up burst. Maybe with barrel bombs or a good wake-up if you've got like greatsword or hammer. Using Lur Pods to take them to a boulder, sleeping them under the boulder, then dropping this double damage boulder on them. It's honestly nuts, and I do wonder if they'll rebalance that in the full release as well. But an alternative to that was actually discussed after the Gamescom footage first came out is how you can play songs via your hunting horn while mounted and then swap weapon. This would then maintain the buffs that you got from the hunting horn for whatever main you're actually using. You could move to a target then while buffing up on the back of your seikret and then swap to the main weapon, but it does turn out that the demon ammo buff is simply more effective, and then the other benefits of say sleep ammo and other utility is hard to beat. But if you do personally play hunting horn, being able to play songs while on the back of the seikret to then dismount smoothly and get into the fight quickly is also still useful. There's also the fact that some songs do seem to weaken when you switch to a different weapon. In particular, attack ups seem to be less effective as a buff when you swapped. Maybe they saw what happened in the Gamescom period with people doing that and adjusted it. But if that's true, maybe they'll do the same with heavy bowgun and demon ammo at launch. It is possible. Next, let's talk about the new way mounting works. Very simply, you will deal aerial damage to generate a mount. And eventually, when you get one, you'll be on the back of the monster. It works very similar to the way that Worlds worked, with some new important details to tell you now. So your goal when you're on the back of a mount is to generate 2 to 3 wounds on the monster's body. Some monsters will allow 3, some only 2 like Raidao, but you want to open up both before you finish the mount. To create wounds then use your knife, and you have options of light and heavy attacks. To create wounds effectively, I would use heavy attacks, and then eventually you'll hear a special sound, and white on a specific spot will appear. That is an almost wounded spot. When it's almost wounded and white like that, one single fast light attack will open it. So I use 2 heavies because that usually opens one of these white almost wound open spots. Then I'll do a quick light attack. Each heavy dagger attack deals significantly more damage than the light attack, even light attack spam with the dagger. So 2 heavies and 1 light often would do the trick, but also get me the most output. So I jump around the monster, opening the maximum wounds I can before going for a weapon finisher. We finish the mount with a weapon finisher on a wound, with its own unique animation, and just like sneak attacks, some weapons actually have unique benefits from these finishers, like Charge Blade. That will generate the Power Axe mode, which is certainly nice. To min-max though, I do like the idea of opening wounds all over the body and then breaking one on say the back or somewhere that's going to be hard to reach normally with the weapon finisher. Then you'll have a wound left on their head or tail to break easily mid-fight with normal attacks or even a focus strike. Now, one that we knew going in from all the Gamescom information was actually a big quality of life for putting items down and then picking them back up again. Like barrel bombs, they can be put down and then picked back up again. And then you could throw them as a new feature, maybe as a wake up, or you could just pick them up and recover them and keep them if you place it down accidentally. But that also applies to traps, whether it's a shock or pitfall. You can stand at their center and then hold circle to recover them. It's a bit finicky, but it's still nice to have, since placing a trap down and having a monster instantly leave is really annoying. But now we can recover the trap, so it's not an issue. In regards to hunts and being prepared before the hunt, I do want to mention the different camp locations in the Windward Plains we're able to learn. There are actually a bunch of them, more than I expected, places we could put down a portable tent. But, a lot of them were in bad spots. When you're about to put it down, it will tell you the danger level, and if it says dangerous, that means the monster is going to come there and destroy that camp, no problem and often. So it's a good idea to only place it in relatively safe or fully safe locations. So, take Area 4. There's a secret location for a safe camp here. It's a good spot because it's got access to the caves and the high up area of 4 and 5. That was a new location where we would fight Ray, and sometimes chatacabra would go up there too. The thing is, we don't know what's going to go up there, but if Rathalos is going to be in the Windward Plains, it's very likely that it will come up to the nest that's here, maybe even Rathian or other flying creatures. And since it is a long run up there, but a fast drop down, having a quick TP up there is going to be an ideal spot. Not too far away from that, just to the northwest, is Area 6. There's kind of a little secret camp cave here. This can be a great way to get to the dunes, or enter the caves as well. I would probably pick between the Area 4 or Area 6 cave location though, since we can only have a limited number. One other location that I want to highlight though is the Dunes secret camp. So you got the oasis and the camp there, but that's highlighted as dangerous. Many monsters go to that oasis to drink, obviously, and so they're going to destroy that camp if they see it. But just to the east of that is actually this camp overlooking the oasis, just in the sand dunes. Monsters don't really come over here, but it is considered not perfectly safe, not fully safe, because you could draw monsters over there accidentally. But it is unlikely that a monster will even go near that camp, so it's likely to survive, and then hey, you've got one in the dunes next to the oasis. Speaking on specific monsters though, did you know that each and every monster in the beta had a unique weak point? I was aware of this while playing, but it wasn't until I saw it on Reddit that actually each one has one. It's a kind of special moment in their respective fights. They're built-in weak points that can still be focus mode striked. As an example of that, one that we probably all know is Chatacabra's tongue. During that fight, often he'll get tired and then he'll expose the tongue after that exhaustion. That can then instantly be focus striked attacked. The same can be said for another one I think we'll all know now, which is the exposed horns of Rey Dao. After various thunder blasts from the horns kind of open up or left exposed and glowing red when you're aiming in focus mode, and those can be focus struck. But this is also the case for Balahara. During the period right after it fires one of its ranged blasts, it leaves the mouth open for a moment. That has another weak point that in that moment you could focus strike. But like I said, every monster has one, and that's because Doshaguma has one too. Whenever he stands up on his hind legs, maybe for a roar or maybe preparing an attack, he essentially exposes his underbelly, and that is another weak point you can focus strike. No wound needed. So, based on all 4 monsters in the beta having one of these, it suggests that every monster in Wilds is going to have a unique weak point which you could use a focus strike on immediately. So we'll have to look out for them. And then one thing that I want to end this with is something that I would often think about during gameplay. Alma would mention that we've been resupplied and to check the secret's pouch. Now I don't know if this is just me and I've been dumb, but I'm putting it in here at the end. I just assumed we automatically would get some extra items at random points as a nice passive thing. But as it turns out, it's not true. There is literally a unique pouch called the Sacred Pouch, and to access it, it's not too far away from what you would normally do. Say call your Seikret, you press up on the D-pad, or swap weapon, you press right on the D-pad. Well, to access your Sacred Pouch, you'd press left on the D-pad, which would show this new inventory of whatever items the pouch currently has. So if this is after one of the resupplies, you'll get some missing items or consumables to consider as a nice way to keep you out in the hunt. And if you're hunting a monster actively, it might give you extra items relevant to that fight, like screamer pods or flash pods. So the Sacred Pouch is another trick to use, and one that I actually missed when playing. But there you have it, just a quick list of things that should be impactful for your hunts. Let me know if you could add anything to these topics, or anything new you could add in general. If it is something that helps the fight you're about to go into, or say mid-fight, I'd love to know about it. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.